up and down my bets. But let's watch this. And King Kongo probably get online later. No, but that's the day after Christmas. He maybe takes breaks or he will get online later.
With an aphelion of 1.29 and a perihelion of 1.13. So enjoy those numbers. It is a terrestrial rocky smog world, and you might be asking, does it have rings? And the answer is yes, it does have rings. What makes Gliese 2 so unique in the system is that it actually has a retrograde rotation, which means that the smog planet is spinning in the opposite direction of all the rest of the planets in the system. And if you've ever seen a Superman movie, you know that means time is also moving backwards. Just kidding. Time moves regular. From there, we're going to head out to Gliese Belt Alpha. Now, not a lot of systems have multiple asteroid belts, but you might notice the naming system that the humans use for asteroid belts is that they use Roman letter names to designate them. So the first belt is Alpha, the next one would be Beta, and so forth. Now, the Alpha belt is an active mining zone, and active in this case means actually pretty violent. Banu aren't prone to violence traditionally when they can use negotiations to settle it, but because, as we'll find out in a second, the Beta belt has been mostly mined out, that there's a lot of active resources in the more difficult to get to Alpha belt, which has caused increased competition. So it's come down to the point where the ore value here is so high that it is worth kind of inciting violence and fighting each other where it normally wouldn't be worth the risk of destroying ships and that stuff. So there's actually a little bit of a trade war going on in the belt now. Eventually, the cost analysis will turn the other way, and the violence should hopefully peter out, but we'll see. And how Banu fight is that they'll contract with, like, often mercenary guilds and hire them to fight their fights for them while they stay in the background. Next up, we're going to go to Gliese 3. So, Gliese 3... Where are you at? There you are. So, Gliese 3 is a terrestrial... Let's try this again. Gliese 3 is a terrestrial rocky planet. It does not have an atmosphere. And this is actually more typical of how you'll find Banu mining operations. The surface of the world is dotted with different mining outposts and refineries, and they close, they reopen, they shift control, and so it's constantly kind of in flux, but it's settled mostly through negotiation and rights deals, and like a Suli will dissolve and two new Sulis will form up and split the former thing, and then, or a Suli will dissolve and a new Suli will come in and claim their rights. So it's always in flux about who owns what, and so you can get in often on mining claims by waiting for stuff to open up through Sulis dissolving or trade deals being in flux, which is kind of cool. From there, we have our next planet on the world, which is No-Go, Gliese 4. And we're going to circle back around to talk more about that, but it is a mysterious, forbidden planet. And next to it is the Lyris Flotilla. As we keep moving out in the system, we have our next major belt, which is the Beta. And this one has been mostly mined out. There isn't a lot of resources left, but there are a lot of salvageable resources instead of ore resources because of so much mining has been done there, and oftentimes when an asteroid's depleted or whatever, it's easier just to leave the equipment. So there's a lot of salvagers working to collect the old mining equipment, and there's wealth to be found there in that way. From there, we go to Gliese 5, which is a gas giant. It has thick clouds of dense water vapor covering the surface, and there's condensers usually at work here collecting that water. Some human corporations have come here to make bottled water human taste, which has met with some controversy because there's claims that they might be using indentured servants to work, which is kind of frowned upon. But it's one of those winks that goes on among human corporations about why making products in Banner space is cheaper. You just get hit with PR problems. From there, we're going to go out to the Gamma cluster, which is over here, which it's not represented well here, but a cluster is not a full belt, it's just a partial ring, so it doesn't go all the way around the orbital plane. This distant and sparse cluster has a dangerous reputation. It's got a dangerous reputation. And so only really experienced miners will head out there. Dangerous not from attacks or anything, but dangerous just from the mining conditions. A lot of explosive gas pockets, a lot of rocks slamming into each other. So, and it's also really far away from the normal trade lane, so if you do get into trouble, you might be stuck out there for a fair bit. The final planet in the system is Gliese 6. It's a distant protoplanet, and it's kind of become tradition for new Sulis to come and leave a luck offering out on this distant world. Religion, just like everything else, is run by different religious guilds who claim to, pray on your behalf and buy favor on your behalf. So there's a couple of those operating out here in this distant remoteness. So if you want good luck, you can come to them and offer them, and a little bit of credits or some other resources, and they will pray for luck on your behalf. So let's go back now to kind of the focal point of the system, which is over here near Nogo, because we have the main trade hub, which is Lyris Flotilla, as well as this planet. Now, it's called Nogo because when humans first arrived in the system, we found this beautifully terraformed world. Green, grassy plains, rolling hills, lovely, but there was no one living on it. Not a single Banu had settled on the world. This is a big point of confusion. And if you look in the old forests and old growths, you would find ruins of ancient settlements. And Banu, when you ask them, like, why aren't you on this world? They would just say, like, oh, you're not supposed to go there, don't go there, which is how it eventually got its human nickname of No-Go. And the thing with Banu and the way that they treat history, it's the result that's important, not the cause. So the fact that gets passed on generation to generation is don't go to Gliese 4. The why is less important to them, so that's kind of been lost over time. And human settlements have come to claim parts of this planet for themselves and has succeeded thus far after, all the initial tests didn't find anything harmful. So it's kind of like, well, if they're not going to use it, we might as well. And so, like, big human settlements have started to grow, and because of its proximity to all these natural resources and Lyris overhead, which is a natural trading hub, so they've been growing vegetables and sending up to the flotilla, and meanwhile a bunch of building resources are coming down, so they're actually growing really fast. Kind of one problem that they're running into, though, is because there is no authority on this world. There's no government. The Banu don't police it. Humans don't police it. So there's also been outlaw settlements or kind of weird factions that have used this to claim a stake of their own. And so it was very popular with outlaw, but now, thanks to a Freedom of Information Act, we found out that humans have struck out there. The Navy did an operation there to strike at a really notorious outlaw group, Project Eclipse, and they bombed the heck out of one such group living on the planet, kind of wiped them out. So, beware if you're an outlaw group thinking that you're going to be safe from the long arm of the Navy all the way out here. It's also a problem not only from just like outlaws and violent types, but corporations looking to take advantage of all these resources have come in, and to maximize their profits, they haven't been using the best environmental plans. So there's starting to be an issue with like strip mining and other stuff that isn't so good for the world, and they've been getting in conflict with the settlers who just want to live in this beautiful planet. So it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out in the coming years. Now, the Lyris Flotilla. Flotilla is a term for kind of a unique Banu style of station. Banus don't specifically build space stations. Normally, how it happens is at organic places like trade route crossroads, where ships often congregate, like if traders are going there and trading stuff, a lot of ships would start arriving to service them. Like you'd have repair ships and refueling ships and restaurant ships, and as the trade route gets busier and busier, those ships hang out there longer and longer. Eventually they'll start mooring them together to build infrastructure between them, and build larger platforms and make it nicer until it grows over the course of time organically as this almost station-like collection of different buildings and ships. And so that is how Lyris formed. The exactly cause of it is a little point of question, because it's not exactly along a natural trade route, but there's still a flotilla here. So theories are that either it was the original terraforming station was the root of it, or if you look at the oldest buildings, perhaps it times out nicely with the evacuation of No-Go. So maybe one theory is that it was the Banu fleeing from the planet's surface were the first ships to form this.
So I have recorded 1 hour more. That's 4 hours I have recorded today, and I have 2 hours left on the memory card. Or 1 hour and 58 minutes. And it's 8:30 p.m. Evening, the day after Christmas. So I think I will record this 2 hours, and I probably record 3 hours more. Then I record 9 hours. But I've only record 4 hours now. So, but I record this 2 hours finish, and I record a bit more, I think, and then I watch some Netflix.
So now,
Yes, we have many. We have 54 videos, so maybe we have 54 star systems. But the Stanton was in one part, so Stanton could be in part 2 or 3, I don't know. But around 50 star systems, we had 54 or 50. I will know that when I have watched it all. And this is only video number 13. So we have a long way to go. So I have to record a lot, like 9 hours today and 9 hours tomorrow. Or I never get finished.
Trade hub, so all the resources collected in the various belts and planets on Nucleus 3 come here, and it is a major point of trade. A lot of human corporations come here to find hard-to-find resources and metals. And there's also like a big collection of other shops and gear and interesting food. And like it's said that like there's a lot of like big market here for out-of-date human clothing, so off sales, cast off, out-of-style stuff, as well as like, you know, like Saddle championship shirts for teams that didn't actually win the championship end up here. You can see, you know, Banu wearing like jumpers, 29, 42 champions when they weren't. Also here, word of warning, when you're doing trades with Banu, it's very traditional to have a drink from these tea things called slomodons, which we might have an image for. Let's see if we can include that. And it's kind of like a communal teapot where they have these drinking straws attached, and it's traditional in Banu culture when you're doing a trade deal that you bring a little something to add in, an herb or a spice to add into the pot, so you all build it together and you all drink from it to show a sign of trust. And humans who go to make deals there are warned to use caution and drink sparingly, even though it's rude to refuse altogether, because sometimes, depending on which herbs and spices in there, the drink can be quite potent. So yeah, so that is Gliese in a nutshell. There's a lot of fun, exciting commerce happening here, a lot of commodity trading to be done. So I hope you get a chance to visit it in the wider verse someday. I know I can't wait to see it. Thank you so much for joining us here on Lore Maker's Guide to the Galaxy, as well as for supporting all of Star Citizen. We couldn't be doing it without you. We say it a lot, and that's because it's true. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star
And
Citizen,
this is Chris Roberts,
please follow us on our social media
the
channels.
founder of Star Citizen and owner. So what's next? The Kronos. Yes, I'll take this sound a little bit because the level of the voice is different from every. Yes, that's the next one, and I give it a like. That's the Kronos system. Let's have a look. Yes, this is the Kronos, and we have the Star Kronos. And I know, of course, this is the green one, it's the habitable zone. And Kronos number 1, the Brooder. There's a 12 planets. Nickname Brooder. Kronos is a tiny barren rock that orbits fairly close to the Sun, while there are a modest amount of metallic ores available in the planet's crust. The surface temperature is prohibitive for mining operation of any significance. Yes, you can go there, but that's too hot. I think maybe we have some spatial mining ships good for heating. We never know. Yes, that's the Schwester Kronos 2. The Synthworld's little sister lives near the outer edge of the system's so-called red bands. Kronos 2 has a very dense atmosphere, causing greenhouse effect to heat its surface to temperatures that are consistently higher than even Berkeley scoring heats. Okay, that's even more hot, but it's a terrestrial rocket. Can maybe go there or not. Yes, we have a jump point to Kellogg's. Synthworld. It's Kronos 3 habitat. No. The Synthworld, also known as Project Archangle, is intended to be temporary terrestrial planets. The UEA is building it in an attempt to prevent the need for terraforming the world again. Artificial. There's nobody living there. So we have nobody living there. It says, but let's look what they are saying about this. The Kronos system. Yes, I forgot to look my uploads. No, but I don't think King Kongo is. I had to look my upload a little bit, so we take a short commercial break. I need the bathroom too. Short commercial break. The upload is running. Let's continue. And have a look at the Chronos system. There's no habitat planets. So let's see what they say.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Loremaker's Guide to the Galaxy. If you haven't seen the show before, this is a chance for one of the members of the lore team to sit down, give you a personal tour of one of the systems that will be appearing in Star Citizen or potentially Squadron 42. We'll give you a little insight to the astronomy that went into creating the system, and a little bit about the history of where it is and how it exists in the world, and all that fun stuff. Now, this time around, we're going to be visiting a system that's always been shrouded in controversy. Well, technically it started more as having a lot of kind of like political government secrecy around it, which then evolved into controversy. So today we're going to go off to the system of Chronos. Now, to help visualize this journey, we're going to use the handy star map, which we have here centered on Earth. We're going to go to the search bar, and let's head on out to Chronos. Now, Chronos is from Earth. All the jumps, I believe I looked at it yesterday, would be, if you're taking a large jump points only, it'll take you about 12 jumps to get to Chronos, which is a bit of a trip. Let me back out here and just show you where it is, because it is off on the fringes of the UEE. And that's one of the reasons why, after this system was discovered in 2863, people wondered why in the world the UEE would even want to hold on to it. Now, as you can see here, I turned on the large jump points, and it shows you it's connected to Kellogg, and this is where the system was discovered from in 2863, reportedly by the 18th Battle Fleet. Now, just so you know, that discovery is in dispute in a court case that's currently going through the UEE legal system. There's a lawsuit by the family of Contrali, is the last name of the family, who credits their grandfather with actually discovering the system from Kellogg.